Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we're putting together a team of youngsters who should be nearing the top of clubs' shopping lists this summer. We've chosen to leave out most of the obvious candidates and pick out some more unexpected names, but you'll no doubt see a couple of familiar faces. Goalkeeper, Paul Bernardoni. We thought about including Fiorentina's 20-year-old French stopper Alban Lafont here, but considering he only joined La Viola last season and is contracted until 2023, clubs are probably better off looking at his compatriot Paul Bernardoni, who has had a breakout campaign with Liga newcomers Nîmes. At 22, Bernardoni is still super young for a keeper, and while he has a contract with Bordeaux until 2021, he has spent the last 2 seasons on loan, first in Ligue 2 with Clermont, before starring in the top flight in 2018-19. But despite Nîmes finishing 7 places higher than Bernardoni's parent club, he has been given no guarantee of a starting place at the Mamou Atlantique when he returns. So it's likely the Frenchman will be looking elsewhere for employment, but with Bordeaux valuing him at €15 million, he'll be out of budget for most Ligue 1 clubs, meaning a switch to another top league could be on the cards. And whoever does land him will be acquiring one of the continent's top young keepers. While his defence conceded nearly 13 shots a game, Bernardoni shut out the opposition on 10 occasions, twice more than the highly rated Lafont managed in Serie A, despite Fiorentina conceding the 3rd least shots in the entire division. What's more, his 118 saves over the course of the season is the most managed by any keeper under 24 in Europe's top 5 leagues. And while his 2.1 saves per goal conceded is slightly bettered by Lafont, a massive 64% of his stops come from shots from inside the box, compared with the Fiorentina man's 50%. Just imagine what he could achieve with a great defence in front of him. Defender, Pedro Porro. While a late season collapse in which they lost 10 of their final 12 games saw Girona relegated from La Liga in 2018-19, they nevertheless had some standout performers, notably Cristian Stuani, who had another top season hitting 19 in the league. Meanwhile, 19-year-old Pedro Porro firmly put himself in the shop window with some electric performances on the right. Capable of playing at fullback or wing-back, Porro was a vital tool for Eusebio Sacristan's system at the Estadio Montelivi, clocking up 32 appearances in the league. And over the course of the season, the Spanish youngster proved a worthy replacement for Pablo Maffeo, making 4 assists, the joint most in the entire squad. And he backed these up with some impressive all-round displays, creating a chance a game, completing 1.3 dribbles, making 3.7 tackles and interceptions, and losing possession less than once a game. While Trent Alexander-Arnold and Aaron Wan-Bissaka have taken most of the plaudits this season, Porro has carved himself out as one of Europe's top young fullbacks, and he is now valued between 20 and 30 million euros. Considering he was re-signed by Girona for just 1 million in 2018, the Catalan club stand to make a sizable profit. And before we move on to our next section, if you are enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe to Football Daily and hit that notification bell so you don't miss another video. Defender, Matthijs de Ligt. One of the most obvious selections in this side, it's simply impossible to ignore Matthijs de Ligt right now. At 19 years old, the Dutch centre-back has already clocked up 117 senior appearances for Ajax, and in 2018-19, captained the club to a domestic double, coming within inches of a historic Champions League final. He also became the first ever defender to win the Golden Boy Award and the first player from the Netherlands since Rafael van der Vaart in 2003. De Ligt was a rock throughout the campaign, making over 2 tackles and interceptions a game for a side averaging 60% possession, and he was also excellent on the ball, completing 90% of his passes, second only to Frenkie de Jong. He also won 3.9 aerial duels a match, more than Atletico Madrid legend Diego Godin, and his ability in the air was an asset to the side going forward too. He ended the campaign with 6 goals in all competitions, including the winner against Juventus in the Champions League quarter-final and another against Spurs in the semi. Having witnessed the blossoming of one of this decade's most prodigious talents, Europe's superclubs are now circling the teenager, with Barcelona and Man United the frontrunners for De Ligt's signature at the time of recording. It will take 70 million euros at the very least to prize him away from Amsterdam. Defender, Ibrahima Konate. As football has evolved, the use of centre-backs has too, from the thump and lump of old to more sophisticated ball-playing defenders, and RB Leipzig's Ibrahima Konate is a perfect embodiment of this change. Having made his debut for Sochaux in Ligue 2 aged 17, the prodigy was picked up by the German club on a free before the 2017-18 season. 6'3" and with a frightening turn of pace, Konate already possesses all the physical attributes required for a top defender. With many top teams now opting for a high press, as Leipzig do, being able to deal with the long ball and controlling one-on-one situations is a must. He wins 3.6 aerial duels per 90 and manages 3.7 tackles and interceptions, completely justifying the 27 starts he's been given this campaign. But he really stands out when in possession. He will happily progress the ball forwards himself if needs be, on average completing 1.3 dribbles per game. A prominent member of the best defence in the Bundesliga, with Leipzig the only side to concede under 30 goals, Konate has been linked to Arsenal. But clubs will have to spend big, as he's tied down to Die Bullen until 2023. Defender, fans' choice. As usual, we've left a position for you lot to decide. Which young left-back has caught your attention this year? Let us know in the comments. Midfielder, Maxime Lopez. Having joined the Marseille Academy aged 13, Maxime Lopez has now completed his third full season for the Ligue 1 outfit, and at just 21 years of age, has already clocked up over 100 appearances at the Stade Velodrome. And while the 2018-19 campaign was generally a disappointing one for fans of OM, it also saw the youngster develop his game even further. A supremely technical operator in the midfield, Lopez now completes 63 passes per game, a career high and more than any centre-mid under the age of 22 in Europe's top 5 leagues, with Arsenal's Matteo Guendouzi a close second. Once compared to Samir Nasri, the Frenchman is a naturally creative player, but is now used to playing in a deeper role behind the roaming Dimitri Payet, marrying 2.1 key passes a game with 2.3 tackles and interceptions. Turning out for an underperforming team, and with his goal and assist numbers dropping slightly in the last 2 years, Lopez's name does not seem to be gaining much traction in the transfer rumour mill. But with just 2 years left on his contract, now is the perfect time for a titan to pounce. Midfielder, Declan Rice. Partnering Lopez at the base of our midfield is Declan Rice, whose breakout season at West Ham has landed him with links to Tottenham and Man United. Making his debut for the East London club at 18 years of age on the final day of the 2016-17 campaign, Rice was used sparingly the following season before being given more responsibility by Manuel Pellegrini. He started 34 of 38 Prem games in 2018-19, completing the full 90 in all but 2 of them. And the young Englishman has repaid his manager's faith in him, consolidating himself as one of the club's key players. Playing more minutes than anyone bar Felipe Anderson and Lucas Fabianski, Rice has been a rock in the centre of the park, winning the ball back 4.4 times a game, and has been a decent distributor too, completing 2.9 long balls a match and sustaining an 86% pass accuracy. This reads very well for a 20-year-old playing in a side not used to seeing majority possession, and his performances rightly earned him a call-up to Gareth Southgate's esteemed England project. While Hammers fans will no doubt hope he follows in Mark Noble's footsteps and stays with the club for life, the former Chelsea youth player will probably have his head turned at some stage as a number of top clubs look to strengthen in the centre. However, another season of regular football at the London Stadium is surely his best option for now. Midfielder, Jonathan Okone. Our attacking midfield berth goes to PSG Academy graduate Jonathan Okone, whose €5 million switch to Lille in summer 2018 has to go down as one of the bargains of the season. The speedy forward was integral to Christophe Galtier's side as they surpassed expectations to finish second in Ligue 1 with 75 points, a full 15 places and 37 points better off than in the disastrous 2017-18 campaign. And while Nicolas Pepe rightly stole the headlines at the Stade Pierre-Mauroy, Okone was his biggest provider, assisting 5 of the Ivory Coast internationals' 22 league strikes. In total, the Frenchman contributed to 12 goals, not bad for a man who only turned 21 at the end of the season, and while he is still very raw, 1.8 key passes a game and a 63% dribble success rate suggests the youngster has a bright future. Contracted at the club until 2023, Okone is now valued at over €30 million. And having originally made his name at the Under-17 European Championships back in 2015, he has been on the radar of Europe's elite for quite some time. Forward, Ferran Torres. Despite being somewhat less experienced than others in this team, Ferran Torres is nevertheless making waves in his native Valencia. The winger originally joined the Spanish club aged 6, started his first game for the senior side at just 17, and has impressed under the tutelage of Marcelino. Despite being limited to mainly sub-appearances this season, the 19-year-old clocked up over 1,700 minutes in the league, and his dribbling and crossing ability, along with a willingness to get stuck in on the defensive side, has made the youngster perfect for his manager's system. In a side which lost 5 less games than Real Madrid over the course of the season, Torres was reliable when called upon, matching up his 1.6 key passes per 90 with 2.7 tackles and interceptions, and played his part in big games such as the 2-2 draw with Barcelona at the Camp Nou. The Spaniard will have been disappointed not to feature in the club's victory over the Blaugrana in the Copa del Rey final, which brought the club its first silverware in 11 years, especially considering he played every minute in the competition up to the semi-finals. Nevertheless, Ferran Torres looks like a true star in the making, with game intelligence to match his flair. Valencia will do well to keep hold of him. Forward, Rafael. The second Lille player in our 11, Rafael moved to France on a free in 2018, having been at Sporting Club since the age of 8, leaving Lisbon after the fan assaults which saw a number of players terminate their contracts. Having only recently turned 19 when he showed up in Ligue 1, and with just 3 matches worth of senior experience on his CV, many expected him to be blooded into the side slowly. But while the Portuguese striker was afforded limited game time in 2018-19, he more than made the most of it. Owing to a crazy run of form at the turn of the year in which he scored 6 in 7 Ligue 1 games, Leão ended the campaign with 8 strikes and 3 assists, contributing to a goal every 118 minutes, a better ratio than Antoine Griezmann. What's more, his near 2 shots in the box a game suggests that this kind of form can be replicated season on season. The Wonderkids' explosion onto the French footballing scene has earned him the moniker of the Portuguese Mbappe among Ligue 1 fans, and while we doubt he will reach the levels of the PSG world beater, we will no doubt be seeing a lot more of him after the inevitable sale of Nicolas Pepe. Forward, Federico Chiesa. They may have achieved their worst Serie A points tally since 2002, but Fiorentina still possess some of Serie A's best young talent, including the aforementioned Alban Lafont, defender Nikola Milenkovic, and of course forward Federico Chiesa. With 6 goals in Serie A and 6 in the Coppa Italia, Chiesa was La Viola's top scorer in 2018-19, and at 21 has already made 100 appearances in the Italian top flight. Furthermore, since his first international call-up in March 2018, he now has 11 caps for the Azzurri. One of Europe's most explosive young attackers, Chiesa's 3.9 shots a game is only bettered by Kylian Mbappe for players under 22 in Europe's top 5 leagues, and add to that 1.8 key passes, 2.2 dribbles and an ability to play on either flank, and you have a player who could fit in almost any front 3. It would probably take over 70 million euros to acquire his services, but considering he already looks like a superstar, Chiesa could prove to be a bargain. So that was our 11 of Wonderkids your club should buy, but did we miss anyone out? Do you have any better suggestions? Get them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, why not check out the video that's on screen right now? And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later.